Okay.
Are you doing some introduction or?
Yes,
Should I
please do
just
so.
start?
Josh, well, I met Josh in Veronica this year. He's a member of WeGlide team and co-pilot team. It's integration for gliding pilots. The product we will see in the next few minutes. And yeah, Josh, it's your time now.
Okay. Yeah, so thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Josh and I'm part of the WeGlide team. And yeah, I will just try to show you yet now some features of our platform and from the Copilot app. It's a pretty big and complex platform now. So yeah, it's hardly to understand, and I will just try to give you some new ideas of what you can do with WeGlide. Yeah, I will start with the basic features. So there are a lot of free features, free to use. And afterwards, I will talk a bit about the premium features, so the Copilot app and the coach. Yes, and I will tell something about our vision or philosophy of each product. So what our thoughts were when we developed it, and then afterwards I will talk a bit about the reality and the limits of the product. So not everything worked out like we thought before. So pretty interesting. Yes, so I will start with some basic stuff, so maybe I will skip some slides because we don't have that much time, and I will more time for questions afterwards. I think that's better. So and we are not too much people, so I would say when you have questions, you can just ask during the presentation. So we have a bit more of interaction. So that's no problem for me. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. Do you see the presentation, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
Yeah, we
our
can see
team.
it.
Okay, all right, thank you. So that's our team. At the moment we are 6 people, so 5 glider pilots and 1 paraglider pilot. And yes, I'm Josh, and I do the front end design together with Nuno and Samuel. So the front end design is basically what you see on the platform. So what the boxes and the buttons look like, and the map and the lines and all the stuff. So that's our job. And then Moritz, Johannes, and Max are doing the back end stuff. So all the algorithm and coding. Yes. So our philosophy, so in general, we take every flight, so we are happy about traffic patterns and flights with vintage gliders, and we take them all and are happy about that. And our main, I would say, business is to host national online competitions from gliding nations and gliding countries. So at the moment we have now it's 8 countries. So France is a very new one. We will host their competition in the next season as well. So yeah, that's our main part in the gliding world on WeGlide. So yeah, we start pretty basic. When you go on the WeGlide, you see the start page. It looks like this. Yeah, you can switch language on the right upper side here. Uploading flights pretty easy here, accessible below your profile picture. Then here, very important is the daily ranking. So that's the best scored flights of our free ranking of every day. And the box on the right side is pretty cool because you can customize it, what your interests are in gliding. So I can show you what you can do with it. So you just hit the customize button here, and then you can use it a bit like Google. So you can put a lot of filters here. So like if you're interested in flights which are in the Alps, for example, you can put in the Alps filter. And then if you are interested in flights, if you are flying, I don't know, Ventus, Ventus 3M. You can put in this glider as well. And yeah, you can set multiple filters here. And when you save it and go back to the main page, you see here always the latest flights, which happened in the Alps. And when you go to your next filter, so the Ventus, you just hit the arrow here. And there you can switch between your different filters you customized for yourself. So this is a pretty nice feature. So I always, I always put in my home club because I'm interested in what my flight mates are doing. And yeah, when I was flying Namibia, I also have the Namibia filter in it. So yeah, pretty cool thing. Okay, let's move back. Yes, that's the slide about the filters. So let's skip this. You can also do some customizing in your own profile. So you can see here many pilots using it for promoting their own gliding channels. So if they have a gliding blog or Instagram or YouTube, you can share it here. And what you also can do is you can write messages. So yeah, that's a pretty nice feature, and we got a lot of good feedback from it. So yeah, we always say the example when you are planning to fly it in another country where you never have been before, you can just look out for pilots which are local there and flying fast and good flights. And yeah, you can just ask them for routes which they usually use at different weather conditions and stuff like that. And yeah, we heard about this, that there are pretty nice conversations, and the pilots are always happy to chat with you. So it's a cool feature for sharing the gliding knowledge all over the world. You also can follow different pilots, and therefore you just hit the follow button besides the message button. And if you do that, the pilots appear to your feed. So the feed is here below the upload button. And there you see flights of your friends, and the focus is not that much on the scoring and statistics. It's more on the pictures and the adventure which happens in gliding. And yeah, you can see you get also the suggestions for friends and stuff like that. And you see always which badges they earned on the certain flight. And yeah, you can also see videos. It's not loading at the moment. I don't know why. So you can do a deep dive into the gliding world. And we always say when family and friends ask what gliding is about and they know nothing about gliding, just go to your feed, and yeah, they get pretty fast an idea of it, what gliding is about. Yeah, that was this slide. So let's skip this. So that now a bit about our scoring list. In my opinion, it's a bit the heart of WeGlide, I would say, because you can use it like Google. So you can put just any filter in here and just filter flights which you are interested in, and yeah, you can do a good preparation for gliding trips or analyzing flights from the past season and stuff like that. I will just go to the platform and show you a bit how the filter works. So to get an idea of the filters and what you can do, you can just click on more here. And here you can get some examples. So for example, you can filter for women only or for outlandings, yeah, for juniors, between different classes, and you even can filter only flights which circumnavigated a certain airport, and you can put a distance filter. And yeah, let's assume you're planning to fly in southern France in the next season and want to prepare a bit, so you can just put in the Provence filter. So now only flights from the Provence are showed in our list. Then you can put in when you only want to see big flights, so you can just say I want to see flights which are bigger than 500 kilometers because you're only interested in the big ones. Just hit this filter, And you always, the filters which are set at the moment, you can see here in the gray boxes. And then let's say you are planning to fly in April and want to see the routes in April because they are different from August. You can go to the date picker. So you can set ranges here. So you can say, okay, I want to see it from, sorry, from here to there. And then the filter is set in this area. You can also filter after seasons. And yeah, if you're only interested in flights from the last weekend or from this week or from yesterday only, you just hit the filters down below here. And now back to our example. So if you want to have the flights from every April of the last years, you just put in April. Now the April filter is set, and you get all the flights from the last years which happened in April. And now down below here, you can switch to the map, and then every flight loads in the map, so it takes some time. And yeah, there you can make some comparisons between different months, and yeah, that's pretty cool for route planning and learning more about gliding areas and what people are doing there. Yeah, that's basically the scoring list. Of course, you can filter between different scorings as well. So on default, there's the free scoring. And of course, you can, when you are only interested in the sprints, so in the fastest 2 hours of your flights, you can filter after the sprint ranking. And yeah, it always adjusted to that. So pretty easy. So that was the scoring list. Yeah, next slide is a bit about troubleshooting. So if you click on the flight, you see this here. And yeah, we try to make troubleshooting very easy. So if something messed up with your IGC file, for example, you can just go on the status here and click on it, and then you can walk through the troubleshooting by yourself. And yeah, if it doesn't work anyway, so you can just write us an email and the answer. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get an idea of what went wrong with your file with that. The same is with the tasks you are flying. So I mean, in this case, it's quite obvious that he missed the first turn point, but it's often the case that you just miss it like a few meters. So in this case, you just click on the box here, and we immediately say you which turn point you missed. So in this case, yeah, turn point 1. So pretty easy as well. Let's stay on the flight page. What you can do here, quite interesting, you can layer the satellite images of the day you were flying. I will show you how it looks like. So you just hit the satellite button, and yeah, you can just go to the barogram and see how the clouds are moving. And yeah, but I use this a lot for training how to read satellite imagery. So for example, you can learn here pretty good how it looks like in the satellite images when it tends to overdevelop, or if there's a spread out in the clouds, and yeah, you can just learn how to read it. And when you are flying in the cockpit with live satellite images, and then you can just interpret them in a better way and learn more about the situation, what possibly will be happen next. So that's a pretty nice tool to train this kind of flying with satellite images. Yeah, of course you can plan tasks with WeGlide. Yeah, I will show you as well. So you go just to the task planner here, and if you want to create a new task, you go on the blue button, new task. So now you have some options. So let's move in here. At first, you can give the task a name. And then in this gray area here, you can choose which waypoints do you want to use. So at the moment, I have the wrong waypoints in here. It's Namibia. So I just go back to the default waypoints, and now you can see some waypoint data in here. And when you want to plan a task now, just click somewhere into the map. And we have a task. So here, the same with troubleshooting. So we say that's no valid FAI triangle. So you have to move it a bit. And then you go into the gray FAI sectors. And now you have a valid triangle. Pretty often asked is if it's necessary to have an airport or a waypoint as turn point set that the task is scored, and that's not the case. So you can just click anywhere in the map and we score the task. So that's no problem for us. So you can use the waypoints, but you don't have to, no problem. Yeah, then you can choose the turn point type. So for example, that's the classic turn points. If you want to train AIT tasks, so you go to AIT turn points, and then you can adjust the radius, of course. Pretty easy as well. And you even can choose between start line and start ring. So many options here. Furthermore, you can make the task public so everyone can see it, or you can make it private. Let's say you meet with some gliding friends at your airfield at the weekend, and the weather is nice, and you ask them if they want to fly the same task you planned. You don't have to share the task on WhatsApp or email or USB stick. You can just make it public and save it. And then if the other glider pilots go on the task and go here to all tasks which are planned, and they see your planned task and they just can go on it, and then they can download the file as CAP or task file and just load it in their navigation devices. So you don't have to share it anymore with WhatsApp or stuff like that. You can just do it all in WeGlide and yeah, fly the task. If you have LXNav Connect and you connect the WeGlide account to the LXNav Connect account, the task appears there without downloading it. So just plan the task and declare it, and it will appear on your task page and in the LX. So pretty easy. Let's go back to the task planner. What you also can do is you can do point calculations. So if you want to know how many points you will get when you fly the task, you get calculation here. So with the scoring distance, how many points the scoring distance is, then you get a small malus because the index, the handicap is more than 100 in the LS8, and then you get the totals. And when you adjust it, it always recalculates immediately. So pretty nice to see how many points you will get with the task when you complete it. And of course, if you have SkySight, you can layer the SkySight maps here when you connect your SkySight account to the WeGlide account. To do that, you have to go to the settings and enter your email and your SkySight password. All right, so this one we can skip. Yeah, that's the basic features. So there's a lot more, but yeah, that's was a small sneak peek, I would say. Yeah, now I will talk a bit about the premium ones. So I will talk about the Copilot app for your smartphone and the coach. And at first, I think I will talk a bit about custom waypoints, as we were already by task planning. So what you can do here is you go to your profile and to waypoint connections, and here you have the chance to create your own waypoint types if you want to. And I can give you an example what I did with that recently. So I was at Veronica, and what I did there is I just drag and drop the outlanding file from the Veronica Lodge. And I wanted to know where I can land with the EB28 because it's a big glider and you can't land everywhere with this big wingspan there. So I just, yeah, that's a bit bad here. So I just go to the satellite image and yeah, just look at the outlanding strips. And if I saw, okay, that's possible with more than 20 meters, then I changed the waypoint name, and yeah, in this case 20 meters. So in original it was just Donnersberg, and I said, okay, it's possible for a 25+ meter glider. So I just added this waypoint and save it, and you can see here now it's in here, and you can even do new waypoints pretty easy. So if you see here, okay, I can land here, for example. So just click in there and put in the name. So Josh New, for example, now, and just create the turn point. And you see now it's in here, and you can download the new waypoint to your LX and just fly and plan with that. So a nice way to create more and new waypoints and to edit the old ones. What you also can do is when you have premium, you can host your task as a local competition. So just plan the task as I showed you before. Same example with the weekend. So you want to train for a competition with your gliding friends, and all you have to do is to set up a task and host it as a local competition. And then every pilot which flies the task and just uploads to WeGlide gets scored to it at a normal competition, central competition like in Soaring Spot. So that's a super easy way to train for competitions with low effort. So here's an example what it looks like. So someone set the task from the Uvalde World Championships as a local competition on the 8th competition day. And so every pilot who uploaded to WeGlide in the evening gets scored to this competition, and then you can do some analytics, what the routings were in this AIT task, and yeah, can just analyze it. And you even can go to statistics, and then you get pretty detailed data here on what the pilots did. And yeah, it's cool for training with juniors, for example, because it just takes 1 minute to set up a task, and you get the scoring in the end, and you can analyze it together. Yeah, what we show here, so a bit more detail to the statistic list. So we show some green numbers and some red numbers. The green ones are significant above the average of this task, and the red ones are significant below. And as you can see here, the first of this day, Christoph Abadi, he did pretty nice thermaling. So he had the best climb rate and got the most altitude out of his thermals on average. And also very interesting is the average altitude. So he was at around 1,700 meters over the day. And the small number here is the average altitude he started thermaling. So he started thermaling pretty high and higher than the others. So I would say it was a bit of a passive style of flying, but he made first in this day. So yeah, interesting stuff, and you can do a lot with this data. and a lot of detail out of the competition days. Okay, next I will talk about the coach. So yeah, the slogan is "We do the math for you." Let's say you would do this kind of analysis after each of your flight. It would just take hours to calculate with the polar of the glider and for each phase of your flight, and it's just not doable for the pilots. So nobody wants to do it. It takes way too much time, and yeah, we just try to offer a product here to give a deep dive in your flying style after every flight, and you just get a result in seconds here. So all you have to do is you have to put in your takeoff weight after your flight, and we do all the calculations. We calculate with the polar of your glider, and then we can say at every point of your flight if we were too fast or too slow between the terminals. Of course, it's possible for historic flights as well. So if you know your takeoff weight of your historic flights, you can just edit your flights afterwards, and you can analyze this coach. I can show you how to do that. So if you go to your flight, you just have to go to this pen symbol here and click on it. And then here is the takeoff weight mask. And there you have to put in the takeoff weight and save it. And then you can use the coach. Of course, you can analyze other pilots as well with the coach when they enter the takeoff weight on their flights. So that's no problem at all. Okay, so when you click on the coach, I will take the same flight now on the platform to show you a bit more. So let's look for that. So I will use the filter option to get there. Put in my name, put in the airfield, and here it is. If you entered your weight, you see the wing loading in this box where your glider is set. So I flew at 500 kilos, so nearly a 50 kilogram wing loading at this day, and about 950 kilometers. Yeah. So and then you hit the coach button here, and all the boxes pop up on the left side. And on the map, we show you every terminal of your flight and the different cruise flights between the terminals. Then we separate the terminals between the red ones and the green ones. And the red ones are attempts, so we call them attempts. And an attempt is when you only do one circle, or when you do circles but not gain more than 100 meters in this terminal. Then we say, okay, it's an attempt. And then we have the green ones, so that are the normal terminals, which should be good. But it's always important to have a look on this as well, because not every green terminal we show you is a good one, I would say. And the reason is that the time for the climb rates is not linear. So let's assume you want to make 1,000 meters in a terminal, and in case one, the time difference when you do the 1,000 meters with 0.5 meter instead of 1 meter, the time difference is 70 minutes between these two climb rates. So that's pretty much and pretty expensive for your cross-country speed. And in case two, if you do the 1,000 meters with 2 meters per second, it only takes 1.7 minutes more if you would do it with 2.5 meters. So way less expensive between these different climb rates. And yeah, the message is, so just skip the bad thermals. But if you are in a pretty good thermal, like 2.5 meters, I would not go for the 3-meter thermal. Just stay in it because time difference is not too big there. So not problem at all. So let's move back to the flight. So it would be pretty bad, for example, in this case, when I would circle here in, let's say, 1.2 meters, and then glide 3 kilometers, and then I would circle here in like 2.5 meters. So I just had to skip this thermal, even if we show here a green one. So the message is here, green is not always good. So just have a closer look there, because it's expensive to climb at weak climb rates. Yeah, so that's the workflow on the map here. Then let's move back to the boxes here. So the first thing I do here is I click on the green on the yellow circle. So when I click on it, I get some tips from the coach. So on this flight, I should try to fly faster between the terminals, and yeah, my climb rate very often decreased near the top, and I should leave the terminals earlier. And I was circling to the right a lot, and I should have take more water ballast with me on this flight. And yeah, that's a good way to get a very quick overview what you have done on this flight. And I also do it before my next flight, so just refresh my mind what I did wrong on my last flight, and keep it fresh in my head for the flight which happens now, and yeah, try to make it better, because it only takes seconds to read this and to click this, so pretty fast. Yeah, second thing I do is I go to the speed to fly analysis and look at the barometer here. And you can see here, I was in the red, so I was way too slow on this flight because I had an overall indicated airspeed of 130 kph. But I should have flown with my McReady I found on this flight, and with my netto air mass movement, so the energy lines I found between the terminals, I should have flown 160 kph, more or less. And you can see here, we separate your flight in different speed bars, so we call them speed bars. And the speed bars represent different speed areas for your glider at a certain wing loading. Then we have the horizontal bar, that's the big gray one here. That's the time you actually spend in the speed bar. So I was flying a lot below 130 kph on this flight. And then we have the small vertical bars, and this is the time you should have been in optimal case in the speed area. So you can see I overshoot it completely, and therefore I was way too slow overall, because I find very good climb rates and should have flown high McReadys above 3, but I didn't. So I should have flown a lot, but this was my actual time I spent in the speed area, so almost nothing. And the goal always should be, like in this example here, that the horizontal bar just hit the vertical one. Then everything is perfect. So that should be always the goal. If you want to understand this calculations better, so with how we calculate it with this data, you can hit the reading example. Let's move back to the flight. So go on reading example, and you see here that we calculated with a McReady of 2.3 and the netto of 0.5. And yeah, you just get more information here how this calculation works. The next one is the thermal analytics. So if you hover over a thermal in the barogram, that's the green bars here. You get this box here. So we also use the taro here for your optimal radius or bank angle in this thermal. in relation to your wing loading and the glider. So this was optimal here in this case. And then we split the thermal in 5 parts to get a better understanding what you were doing in different areas of this thermal. So in this case, I entered the thermal in 980 meters, and I flew out of it in 1,200 meters. And you can see here, I centered it quite good at the bottom, and then my climb rate decreases. And here the climb rate, and in the upper end of the thermal, the climb rate is very weak, and I should have left here already. We always get asked how we calculate the bottom here, so the gray one. If we filter the pull-up you are doing and the centering. And what we are filter is the pull-up and then the first circle. So the pull-up doesn't count here and the first circle doesn't count. And after the first circle in the thermal, we start counting. So the 2.3 meters here is after the first circle and after the pull-up you did in this thermal. So I would say this data here is accurate for the quality of the thermal you found here. Then the last one is the weight analysis. So you see here, I was too light. I have should been a bit heavier, like 55 kilograms. And if I have done that, I would have been a little bit faster. So I was at 103, 104 kph, and I would have been at 105 kph. Yet now it's really important with my style of flying. So this is my style of flying. I was very passive on this flight, flew very passive. And even with this passive flying style, I would have been a little bit faster with a heavier ASG 29. But the impact is not that high. Here we get always asked if it would be possible to give you the optimal speed of your flight when you have flown the optimal McCready, like 160 in this case. And yeah, we would love to do that, but it's obvious that the flight would have been not happened in this way if you have flown this fast, because you reach the thermals lower and have to take another thermals, and then we don't just have the right data to calculate this accurately, and we just can't say it what your XT speed would have been if you have flown optimal, because it would have been a completely another flight. Okay, so my quick learnings here, just on this flight, just be more optimistic with my climb rates I found. So I was able to find pretty nice climb rates, and I just, trust the polar of my glider more and I just try to fly faster between it. And so I would say for this flight, 160 is my new 130, even in uncertain conditions, because the glider is so good and it can handle so much. Even if there is a little overcast, or if you are a bit low, just try to fly a bit faster, then you will fly faster overall. Then in the thermals, so at this time, I always try to find the perfect lines between the thermals. So I always focused on good energy lines, and I said to me, okay, it's pretty exhausting to fly like this. And then when I enter the next thermal, I will concentrate to core it, to center it, and then I will relax to prepare for my next cruise flight. And you can see what happens here. So I concentrated, and then I just relaxed and eat something and didn't concentrate on cornering anymore. And yeah, the climb rate very often on the flight decreases in my thermals during the top, and I should have left earlier. And yeah, my quick learning here is just concentrate more on climbing again, because it's as important than the cruise flight, or even more important. So yeah, just switch my mind here again and focus on thermaling again. The last one with the the weight analysis. So as I said already, there was not that much impact because I flew very passive. And at this time I thought, okay, maybe I should just add 50 kilograms more water the next time, and I will be like 10 to 15 kph faster overall. But of course, that's not the case, because you see the polar of the ASG here. And at my speeds, I was flying on this on this XT flight, like 130, the difference between the empty and the heavy glider is very small. So the real performance increases on high speeds, and it's quite clear here again, to fly fast, I have to fly faster between the terminals. Yeah, and of course, on default, you get the overall coach, so you get coached for your whole flight. But for example, if you are interested in the first leg only, you can just go to your legs. You go on the statistics here and get on more statistics, and then you click on your first leg. The first leg now gets highlighted in the barogram, and it gets highlighted here as this line. And you can see here that when you click on different legs, the coach always recalculates. So now you get the coach only for the certain leg you just choose. Of course, when you go, if you want to see your performance between some certain terminals, you just go between the terminals, and then you get the coach calculation just for this phase of your flight. And then if you want to know what you did in this terminal, just go to terminal, and you see at the left now, it calculates to that. And then if you go to the next cruise flight, it just recalculates. Yeah, and you can just play it through. So yeah, you can go in high detail here. And of course, you can also adjust the coach to different scoring. So if you want to coach for the sprint, so for the fastest 2 hours, just click on sprint, and you see the coach will recalculate here. Yeah. And also, not often known, if you zoom in the barogram, it just zooms automatically in the map. So pretty nice as well. All right. So another short example, but a pretty clear one. This is a flight of a friend of mine from Jonas. He was flying in an LS8, 990 kilometers triangle, so he missed the 1,000 kilometer pretty close, and he hit the coach button, and the weight analysis said he was way too heavy on this day, so he flew 515 kilograms, but he should have flown at 450. So the LS8 just couldn't handle the bad climb rates in the morning, and the LS8 was way too heavy there, and this made him slow. And if you go to the reading example, it says, okay, if you flew in an emptier LS8, you would have been with your style of flying. So your Jonas did pretty good here. He was in the optimal speed overall. He would have been like 2 kph faster on this overall flight with the lighter glider. So, and it's a simple math. So now he was flying 10 hours, so that would have been 20 kilometers more. So the 1,000 kilometers would have been possible if you just not add this much water in the morning. So he just should have flown a lighter LS8 on this day, and he would have been doing the 1,000 kilometers with his style of flying. So nothing to change except of the water. So this is a pretty clear tip here, and you just get this in seconds, and without the coach, you just wouldn't know it before. Yeah, what the pros are doing. So as a reminder, this is the overall speed bars from my flight, and we just looked at the flights of Stefan Langer from the Uvalde World Championships, which he made the first place. So he's world champion in 18-meter class now. And here are some examples. So the first one quite obvious. The weather there is pretty good, so they flew high nettos and high McReadys, and that results in pretty high cruise speed, so always in the 200s pretty often. And you see here that he was very often in the greens, so in the optimal speed bar area. So you see what the pros are doing. It's quite accurate, especially when they're flying competitions, and it's pretty rare that they are in the yellows or even in the reds. Maybe a bit about what are the areas here are. So of course there would be one optimal point for your optimal speed overall, but we give the green some area, and that's because there are always uncertain conditions during a flight. So maybe there's an overcast and you fly a bit slower, or you get low and have to fly slower to get the next terminal and stuff like that. And therefore we make the range here. So it differs like plus 10 kph from your optimal and minus 10 kph from your optimal. So it's a 20 kph range. And I would say it's even okay if you are in here, because if it's get very difficult and you have to fight and are low all the time, you have to fly slower. But when you are in the reds, like I was on my example before, then I was way too slow with this glider. So the glider can handle much more. And if you are in the reds, that's not good. You can just fly faster the next time. So yellow is okay, I would say. Green is good, but red of course not. Yeah, and as we did the coach, and then we looked at all the flights and stuff like that, it's pretty interesting that many pilots fly too slow very often, especially the pilots flying high performance gliders. I don't know why. Maybe they just don't know the polars or what they are capable of, the new gliders, or they have forgotten that they are sitting in a new glider and don't adapt their style of flying from their older glider. But it's pretty often the case that this kind of pilots fly too slow. And there are few pilots, maybe a handful of pilots who are flying too fast frequently. So that's pretty rare that people are flying too fast. Here's one pilot. It's Simon Schröder from Germany. So also a young pilot, pretty a good one. Yeah, and I show you this flight because to show you a bit the limits of the coach. You can see here the black line is all in straight flight, so he don't use thermals here, and he flew 466 kilometers straight, so without thermaling, just converting the energy he gets into speed. You see here he has a very high netto on this flight, so in this area I would say it's more like a wave flight, so you find pretty nice cloud streets, pretty nice lines. And if you do that and reaching cloud base somehow and converting all the time the energy only in speed, because you are so good in finding the thermals, the energy, and then afterwards, like in this case, after 460 kilometers, you enter a weak thermal like 1.5 meters. And of course, in the McReady theory, then we refer only to this next thermal. And then in this case, this thermal is way too weak for this kind of flying, and coach says you are way too fast. So that's the limit of the coach, because we always need thermals to calculate with the McReady theory. And we say when there are homogeneous conditions, so if you are circling every 50 to 100 kilometers, I would say it's okay. But if you are doing straight cruise flights above 100 kilometers, we don't just have enough data to calculate accurately. And yeah, that's definitely a limit of the coach. So yeah, it's not often the case that you fly this long straight flights, especially in Europe. Yeah, and that's definitely a limit. So the next one is when you are flying in the Alpine area, so in the mountains. it very often, or I would say it always makes sense to reach the next mountain above the ridge to catch the thermal faster. And of course, there always it makes sense to fly a bit slower to reach at a certain height there. And yeah, that's quite often the case that coach says that you are way too slow between these thermals because yeah, you just wanted to get high enough there. So I would say the coach doesn't make many sense in the Alps. I just would take too much attention on the speed to fly analysis of the coach here. So in the Alps, it makes much more sense to do the thermal analysis with the coach. So if you were climbing steep enough and if you should have left the thermal earlier and stuff like that, but the speed to fly in the Alps, I would just give no attention on that. So then we have some more features. I would say it's a bit too long now if I go in detail here. I will just show you how it looks like if you do that. So you can put in the thermal replay. Then we show all the thermals of the day you were flying, and the diameter of the green circles is the thermal strength. So the big circles are very good thermals, and the smaller ones are weak thermals. And yeah, it's nice to see where the good conditions were in relation to your position at the moment. And you can just check if you were in the right place all the time or not. And if you zoom in, you of course also can have a look at if you missed the thermal on your flight path. So I don't know where the glider is at the moment. So yeah, just go in here and look if you missed any thermal or not. So yeah, can spend a lot of time here in analyzing. And we also do the day replay. In this case, we load every glider which was flying on this day into WeGlide. And you can give the glider different labels. So for example, the XT speed, so the speed in the last hour. And you can see here now you get all the XT speeds from every glider in here. And you can just compare to your own flight if you were significant faster in certain areas or slower, and yeah, just analyze it what was wrong on your flight or in the other's flight. Okay, so last one is the Copilot app. So it's an app for your smartphone device, and some of the maps are also available for the LX 9000 and the LX 9070. And on your smartphone device, it's available for Android and for iOS, so for Apple as well. Yeah, what the vision was, or the idea was, I mean, every glider, there are a lot of gliders in the air, and almost every glider has a flam nowadays. And when it's have a flam, it's producing a lot of data. And yeah, we wanted to make this data usable for the pilots during their flights to just give them input for their decision making, what they can do. And yeah, I mean, the glider is producing data and send it to the OGN station, and then it gets to the OGN server, and from this servers we take the data to produce our live charts. A lot of people ask us if the charts we show are forecasts, and no, it's not a forecast. It's live data. So what you see there is actually happening in the air at this moment. So the first map we show to you is the live netto air mass movement. So in simple words, it's the energy lines, and yeah, it looks pretty much the same like the SkySight XT speed chart or convergence chart. So you're just looking for the yellow red one ones you want to be there and not in the green and the blue areas. And you can see here southern Germany on a pretty good day. And yeah, for example, here's the Swiebeln Alp with the Hahnweide. And if you are at Stilberghof, you always ask you if you fly the Swabian Alp on the south side or on the north side. And you see here now, okay, all the gliders are finding good lines on the south side, so I will choose the south side as well. So yeah, it's super nice for making routing decisions during your flight. The data you see here is based on the last 40 minutes. You get the timestamp of the map you see at the moment on your phone here. So for example, here it's from 9:40. So the data you see here is from 9 o'clock to 9:40. So 40 minutes old, and you get a new chart every 2 minutes. So you get the new one on 9:42, and then the data is based between 2 minutes after 9 to 9:42. So always 40 minutes. Yes, so this is another example from the Swabian Alp, and you see here are also good energy, but not as aligned as you see before. So yeah, in my opinion, this is information as well, because if you see that, you don't have to think about anymore if you're flying on the north side or the south side. You can just fly your route you want to, and don't put more effort in your decision making here. And yeah, so I would say it's also an information. Then here's the chart from the day before as well, again. And I show you that because, of course, we are starting now to collecting all the data from all the gliding days, and we start to overlay them. So when we overlay them, we get a good idea of good areas. So for example, in the Black Forest, where are usually the good lines in certain wind conditions or certain thermal conditions. And if we collect more and more data here, we can make some pretty accurate charts for route planning. For example, to know more about the fast routes and how you set your task and stuff like this. Here's an example from the Black Forest. This is from a webinar with Michael Schleich. So Michael Schleich is a very good pilot from the Black Forest. He's always flying 1,000 kilometers triangle with his Ventus out of there. And yeah, he was, and I would say there are only a few people who know the Black Forest as good as he does. And he was asked there, what is the best line he discovered in the Black Forest? And he just sketched this line in here. And as we overlay more and more charts, we saw already this kind of line in here as well. So yeah, you with this charts in the future, you get the knowledge of local heroes, of local good pilots. You get the knowledge on WeGlide. So that's a cool, transparent feature for everyone, and everyone can profit from that. So the next chart is the live thermal height. So it works the same like the energy line, so updated every 2 minutes, and it's based on the last 40 minutes. It's pretty cool for flying in the mountains, because there's sometimes the case that you are in front of a mountain range, a big one, and you can't see how high is the mountain, the cloud base behind that, and yeah, you want to decide if you just jump over the mountain or not. And now with the live map, with the thermal height, you can see if the cloud base is high enough on the other side, if their gliders are flying. So that's a cool tool for that. And of course for flat end flying as well. So here's an example from our teammate Moritz. He flew for some years ago as we developed the co-pilot, and yeah, he was originally planning to fly here to Pritzwalk, because the weather forecast was pretty good there. And as he opened the co-pilot in flight on this point, he saw, okay, the cloud bias is really low there. It's all green, so that doesn't match with the forecast. It was set much higher there. I don't want to fly in that, and I adjust my tasks more south and lead to have more options because I'm higher. And yeah, so he make a long-term decisions pretty early, which resulted in a 1,000-kilometer flight. And of course, you can't see if you are here, and this is like 200 kilometers. You can't see how high is the cloud base in here if you are here in the cockpit. And now with Copilot, you can see it when gliders are flying there at the moment. And yeah, it even wasn't possible with the satellite images you flew in the last years, because the satellite image doesn't say to you if the cloud base is high or not. So that's a nice tool for that. Then we show live thermals. So this one is updated every second. So when a glider is starting thermaling, then it pops up on the map. You can see it here. We have green thermals and gray thermals. The green one are active. This means a glider is circling in there, and the gray one is inactive. So the glider left the thermal already. In Germany and Europe, for example, we show the inactive thermals 10 minutes after the glider left there. And now the pretty cool thing is that you can click on the thermals for your decision making if you want to try it or not. So if you click on the thermal, you get more information. I clicked here on this thermal, and you see, okay, this thermal is inactive for 5 minutes, but it was a pretty good one. The glider averaged 4.1 meters, and he entered at 800 meters and took the thermal to 1,600 meters. So a pretty nice thermal, and I would try it if I was near there. And even if there isn't a glider anymore, I would try it. Then we have satellite imagery, so that's nothing new, I would say. We have different zoom levels, so the resolution is quite nice. And for Europe, we have better satellite images now, as there is a new satellite in the air. Maybe I can show you some example. So this is the old one. And you can see here, the new one is way better, way more structured. You can see the structures here, the cloud streets, and way more detail than before. And there was even very often the questions when you have like blue holes like here, and you saw, okay, there's something, but you can't really say what it is, or is it a cumulus or not? And now you can see it pretty clear. So here are some cumulus, it's the new one. So way more detail in that. So that's a nice improvement for our satellite images. Okay, let's move back. Then we have some small, very small, but easy to use navigation features. So our team, we are more kind of free flyers. So we just try to optimize our 6 legs in the free scoring and look at satellite images during flights and optimize for cloud streets and good lines. And the danger with flying like this is that you're starting to fly high deviations when you only follow the satellite images. So therefore, we put in the go-to function. So if you find a good cloud street, you can just click anywhere in the map on the end of the cloud street, and then you get the bearing to this point and the distance. And then you can use the satellite images way more efficient because you don't fly this much deviation anymore. If you are flying tasks, you can, of course, layer them into Copilot. So you have to plan it in WeGlide, as I showed you before, and then you can go to your settings in Copilot and click on Show Tasks, and the task will show up. I can show you later how to do that. And then you can mark gliders as well. So if you are interested in a glider in the air or want to follow your club mates or your team partner in competition, you can go on the glider. You can get more information of this glider. So his distance he did already and his speed at the moment, his average cross-country speed. And yeah, just mark them and he gets a circle around it. Okay, so let's move in. That's the last topic now, the hotspots, but I move into Copilot now to show you the settings page.
Josh, maybe one question on Copilot and this live data, if I may. Of course, the prerequisite for this is that you have an active connection, right? And which frequently breaks in the air. So have you found or can you recommend any solutions on this except Starlink?
Yeah, I will talk about this a little bit after I showed you Copilot. So there, I have some slides for that.
Okay, perfect.
Because I said in the beginning, I talk about our vision and then the reality, and the reality is a bit not as good as we hoped.
Okay, cool.
That's the problem.
Thanks.
Okay, so you can see Copilot here. So what you can do is you can click on airspaces, of course, and you can just highlight them. So you're always sure which airspace you look at the moment. Then you can filter the gliders out. So I don't know if there are any gliders at the moment flying. Let's go to the US. So here's a glider flying. So let's assume there are a lot of gliders in the air in southern France in peak season. So it's filled all up and it gets a bit diffusing, I would say. And then you can just hit the blue button here and the gliders are away. And you only get our live maps and fly after our live maps. And if you want to have the glider again, just hit the button. And then you see all gliders again. And then, yeah, okay, I show you here. I think here it is. So you can click on the glider and then here mark the aircraft and then you can see the circle in here. So I don't know if the glider is terminaling. I assume he doesn't. No, he doesn't circle. So I can't show you live terminals. Unfortunately, nobody is flying at the moment. Yeah, but you have here our live charts. So this is all the live generated stuff I showed you before. And here you get the weather satellite. And as you can see here, there are different zoom levels. So if you zoom in, the resolution gets a bit better. So that's a huge improvement. And you can also use the set fill, and then you can see how fast the front is moving or how it's developing. And that's what I said before. You can train a post-flight analysis with the satellite images on your flight page and just learn how the set images look like if there is overdevelopment or overcast, and that's a pretty good training for that. Yeah, you can get to the settings when you click on your profile pictures. And here's the show task function I showed you before. So I planned the Lesce 1 tasks, and then I can declare it or I cannot declare it. And then if we go back to Slovenia, so there it is. Then the task is set here. So also pretty easy. And if you want to delete it, just go on the task and then stop showing. You can layer SkySide charts as well. Then you have to activate your plan. And then, for example, if the font size is too small for you, you can just adjust the font size here to get better, so it gets way more readable. Yeah. So I will move it back. Okay. So let's get to the last topic, terminal hotspots. I make it a bit faster. So terminal hotspots at the moment only available for Europe, because for other countries we have, I think Namibia we have some, but US and stuff like this is not enough data yet, because we need a lot of data to make good hotspot charts. At the moment, the hotspot chart is based on 10 million terminals, which were uploaded to WeGlide. And yeah, we always say we use high quality data only. So we filter all the local flights and traffic patterns, and we even don't use every cross-country flight. So we also have an algorithm therefore only for the, I would say, good XT flights to get the best terminal data out of that. And you can see here the example. There were some hotspot charts in the past, mainly from the paragliding industry, and there was also always the problem that they didn't filter the start points, and then every paraglider was circling there, and the chart say, okay, that's pretty nice there, a lot of terminals, yeah, but it was misleading. So we just try to evaluate that with the filtering of only the good terminals. Yeah, that's what this look like in flight. Yeah, here the color scheme is a bit another one like in the charts before. So here is yellow one, not a significantly strong terminal. The color says, okay, it's more possible you get the terminal here, like on the green dot. So the yellow dots and the red dots, there you get the chances are really high that you catch a terminal, and the green ones is the chance not so high that you catch a terminal. So now I will go back a last time into Copilot to show you the color scheme. So I go to terminal hotspots. You can choose between different wind directions and time zones. So for this example, these are the hotspots for no wind and between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can switch the times here. So you can see here in the slider, now the time changes and the hotspot changes as well. We recommend the no wind function for using all the time because it just works best. So the wind functions are not the best. I would say just use the no wind function during flights, and that will be the best result. And now you can see here, for example, in North and West Germany, some pretty good spots, and these spots are power plants. So if you fly above a power plant there, then it's almost 100% sure that you catch a terminal there, and you can see this and this dots here and this color scheme. And now the interesting point is that also some of these colors appear, for example, in the middle mountains, for example, here in the Thüringer Wald. So at this point here, you catch the chances you catch a terminal there is as high as you would fly over a power plant. So pretty high chances. And even in the flatlands near Berlin, like here, there are some spots now. I have to look for it, like here, which behave like a power plant, and we just recheck that with the satellite images. So you can see the spot here I showed you before, and was what it looks like in real. So, and it's just edge of a forest. So there's no power plant, there's nothing, just the edge of a forest, and this produces somehow a good terminal, like you were flying over a power plant, and the chances is pretty high that you get a terminal there. And yeah, there are some more examples in the flatlands, like here, somewhere in the forest. So no no decent point which would trigger a thermal better than in the other areas, I would say. But somehow this is the case. And of course, the more data we get in the future, the better this charts get. So, I mean, this based on 3 years of WeGlide now. And I don't know what we see there in like 10 years. So the data only gets better. So this is pretty interesting for future flying, of course. So now internet connection, the reality. So it's not as good as we hoped for, of course. We hoped for like that you get every 5 to 10 minutes internet connection during flights, and it depends a bit where you are flying, but it's not the case often. So yeah, we did some research here, in this case for Germany. Our tip is just to experiment a bit with the internet providers. Because there are different qualities for internet connection during flying. So you can see here on the left side is the Telekom. It's the best provider for the ground in Germany. Also everyone loves the Telekom because you have almost in every spot in Germany, you have internet connection. And that's because they have a lot of masts standing with antennas. All you can see here in green that are masts with antennas. And then you can see not that good providers. And you can see here the internet connection is not that good on the ground because there are not enough green spots. And what these internet providers are doing with the antennas is they don't put them horizontally or even downwards like the Telecom does. They put them horizontally or upwards. And of course, if the antennas are upwards, the internet connection for flying is way better. So in Germany, for example, the very bad internet providers for the ground, so all the prepend, Aldi Talk and stuff like that is pretty nice for flying. We got way better experience with the internet connection with this kind of provider. So our tip is we didn't do it for Slovenia. Just experiment a bit with the providers, and yeah, maybe you get better results with that. Starlink, we don't have experience. We talked a bit to Stefan Langer. He tried it, and it seems to be a problem if you're flying faster than 160 kph with the connection. Also, the bank angle is a big problem. So when you use the Starlink on sailboats, on them boats, they always use a gimbal because it has always to be horizontally aligned to the atmosphere, and of course that's not possible in a glider. So I don't know. I would say Starlink isn't the best option here as well. Yeah, then another reality is the more data we have, the better the charts get, our live charts. You can see here the gray spots. There we have no data, so we can't calculate any chart out of that. And for example, in 2024 in Germany, we had less data than hoped on the days because weather was not that good, and not many gliders were flying. And of course, the charts you can see here wouldn't appear on such a weak day because nobody is flying. But we found some potential here as well we didn't thought about before. So let's move back to the netto chart. You can see here an example with less traffic. So to get the chart like you see here, they have to be at least, I would say, 500 gliders in the air. So pretty much gliders. And yeah, of course, the reality is it's not often the case that you see this much glider in the airs, only on the weekends, and I would say only in southern France and maybe in Germany. But you can use it also for getting a feedback loop in the air. So let's say you're flying this cloud street here, and you know, okay, gliders are flying the cloud street here, like 10 kilometers to your left side. And in the past, you can say, yeah, maybe they are doing better at the moment, but you didn't know really. And now you get every 2 minutes a direct feedback if you are better, if your line is better, or if the other's line is better. And yeah, this works with less gliders, of course, and if you're flying competition and stuff like that. So very good for feedback loop in the air and for using that. Second one, which I really like, is the interpretation of satellite images. So I fly a lot with satellite images in the air. And you can see here an example of a very homogene satellite images. So you can't read out any good lines here. It looks more or less the same everywhere. And if you recheck it with the netto chart, you can see, okay, Lima Delta found a good line, and the glider above that didn't find a good line. And yeah, I didn't saw the difference here in the satellite images. So I opened the netto chart very often to just get a better idea of what the satellite images tells me, maybe. Also, another example, maybe a bit more readable in the satellite images, that this should be a good line. And of course, this is a good line. And yeah, I would say the line on the right side looks good as well, but the netto chart says, no, it's not. So yeah, it's a good tool for adding another layer to the satellite imagery. And of course, this is very good for your pacing strategy. It doesn't matter if it's in a competition or free flying. So let's assume you are here down below and want to fly to the north, and you see, okay, here's everything is yellow and red. So every glider has a very good line and energy is high. So just push it to the max and fly fast. But you know also, okay, it can get difficult up here because everything is blue and green. So maybe I should be high here and fly a bit slower in there. So very good for pacing. Same example here, a competition in the US. So the gliders had the turn point here and then in the east, and of course it went okay down south, and then you see, okay, it gets difficult. And if you have co-pilot in there, you can pace and say, yeah, I have to stay high now and fly a bit slower, and yeah, just work like this. And for me, a pretty important point, because I don't fly competitions that much. I'm more a free flyer, and yeah, mindset during flying is really important for me. And I always struggled in the past with days when I didn't find good terminals and didn't find good lines. And I said to Mirja, I'm too dumb to find this today. And now I just open the co-pilot app, and it's pretty often the case that everybody is struggling in the moment and nobody finds any good lines. And yeah, this just frees my mind for my flying, and I just concentrate on my flight again, and don't put too much effort in my bad mindset situation. So yeah, I'm just not alone anymore in the air when I open the co-pilot app for a quick check. So I think that's all. Yeah, that should be everything. Yeah, I hope you learned something new. It was a bit long now, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And when you have any questions, you can just ask.
Yeah, Josh. How many pilots did fly with co-pilot in Uvalde in World Championship?
Oh, I can't say that. I know that the German team did, but I don't know how many people fly with co-pilot there. I can't say it. I know the German team did, but I can't say it.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay. What about the others? French team and the others?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We didn't talk to them, so I don't know.
Okay, but for sure there is an advantage if you fly with the co-pilot, and in case of let's say difficult weather and AT task, there should be an advantage if you have all those data.
Yeah, of course. I think if you have internet connection, then you have an advantage, of course. But when everybody has the chance to use Copilot, I would say it's fair. So everybody can do it, but if they don't do, we can't help them. But I think because we know that the French team has some WeGlide premium accounts, so I think they used it as well. So we just didn't talk to them, so I can't say it. Yeah.
What about the badges? Can you show us only the badges? What badge can you gain if you fly? I don't know, with you know what I mean?
You mean the badges?
No, the badge. Yeah, we have an idea because we can fly within 5 different countries from Lesce. Let's say Slovenia, Austria, Germany, Swiss, Italy, and back.
And you can do it in one flight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a nice badge. I just write it down, then we can implement that. That's a really nice one. That's a good one. We just need a good name for that. So if you have any suggestions for the name of this badge, then you can write me.
Okay.
5 countries. That's nice. Yeah. All right.
Maybe Josh, one question from my side. We are thinking into getting our national competition in cross-country flying from OLC to WeGlide. Can you elaborate a bit how this would look like if we would actually organize it on WeGlide platform?
Yeah, that would be possible, of course. So as I said in the beginning, we do it with a lot of countries already. And yeah, the very important thing for us is that we just communicate with the guy who hosts it at the moment, and that he is willing to do it with us, because we had made some, I would say, we had some difficult conversations with some countries and the guy who was hosting the competition before there. Yeah, so the very important part is to set up a meeting with everyone who's involved and just discuss it, how it goes. And the implementation process is pretty easy. So that is not the problem at all to host this competition.
And can we also define our own rules, or we should go with the predefined rules that are there already on the platform, that already exist and other countries are using them?
You can, so we can talk about this. So it's basically it's possibility to use your own rules and your own rule set. But we are always a fan of if every country has somehow more or less the same kind of rules. So we always try to push them a bit to our basic rule set, and often there's it's the case that they do it with some, I would say, special cases. So of course it's possible, but yeah, we are likely to make it more
unified, right? Yeah. So because
there's one very big problem, and that's the handicaps. So many countries had different handicaps, and that's just a problem for us to show it on the flight detail side. So if for example you have different handicaps than we have, and you fly, and then we have the free scoring, the free WeGlide scoring with a different handicap like you have on your national competition, and then people always are confused. Okay, why I get less points than on this task and this task, and so that's the the only really point from us that that you should adapt our handicap system from the gliders.
Because in Slovenia there are also ideas. Of course, we are brainstorming how to do it. Our commission, gliding commission at our national association, guys are brainstorming how to do it, right? And there are also ideas that not only planes would be handicapped as usual, right, in all competitions, but that also airfields would be handicapped to some extent, because if someone starts in flatland and compares to someone who starts in the mountain, this would be the handicap for a pilot who starts in the flatland. That's how they say. But this would complicate things additionally, right?
That's the case. But we are open for discussions here. So we can just set up a meeting and discuss your wishes, and then we can see if it works out or not. So we are open to that, of course.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
So just reach out to me, or just write to info@weglide.org. You can reach out to us, and then we can set up a meeting for this.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any more questions?
No, it looks like that we are happy with the presentation. Thank you very much. In the name of around 24 members of our club. You are warmly welcome in Lesce anytime during the season. And I suggest that we stay in contact and to try to develop our performance on our side, and same time maybe also on WeGlide side and Copilot.
I hope you liked it, and it's definitely on my bucket list to visit your country and your airfield. So hopefully that will happen soon.
Okay.
But I will reach out to you for this.
Just let me know when you will have time to come here, and you're really warmly welcome.
We always do like a team meetup, because every one of us works in a different city in Germany, and then we make a meetup once a year and flying a bit together, and maybe we do this in Lesce sometime now.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
Okay, Josh. Thank you very much again, and see you somewhere.
Yeah, thank you too, and have a nice evening and a good start in the new gliding season.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.